Hello and welcome to this week's edition of What's Hot with Tranquility. I am your host, SOT publisher Pete Pardo. It is Monday, December the 15th, just getting ready for the holidays, and we have our last regularly scheduled kind of normal program here for you this week. We're going to look at some hot new releases that have come out recently. Next week we will do a final episode for the year, and it'll be our best of 2014, so I'm going to give you my top 10 of the year. So for now, let's get into some cool stuff that's come out recently. First, we're going to take you to the Tranquility Records label out of Sweden. We've got the latest from Anima, Morte, Upon Darkened Stains. That is what you're listening to here. These guys are an instrumental outfit. Basically, if you like the instrumental soundtrack works of Goblin, that's kind of what you're going to get here. As you can hear in the background, it's pretty moody. It's kind of creepy at times. You can just imagine this as being the soundtrack to some modern day zombie flick or sci-fi space thriller, or whatever the case. So if you like those old 70s and 80s soundtracks to those great Italian movies from various directors, Dario Argento and so on and so forth, you'll really dig this. A lot of fun, a lot of creepy keyboard work and cool guitar riffs and solos and things like that. So pretty cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that. Again, on the Tranquility label. We're going to jump over to Century Media now. The latest from the Haunted, Exit Wounds. Haunted been around for a while. They've released some really good material over the years, and this one is no exception. If you like their brand of really heavy, extreme thrash and bits of death metal, I think you're going to really dig this one. It's the Haunted. There's really nothing new going on here, but solid as always. These guys just don't really disappoint. They're pretty consistent from year to year. So take a look at that one. It's on Century Media. We're going to stay on Century Media right now for the latest EP from the Butcher Babies, titled Uncovered. I'm not really digging this. This is basically them doing a bunch of covers. There's only a couple tunes on here. They do ZZ Top's Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. It's kind of unrecognizable. They also do They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha. Don't Give a Fuck, Crazy Horses, and Pussy Whipped. You might recognize some of those titles. I don't know, it's kind of like this gothic punk type of thing. Not really my cup of tea, but, so I'm going to give this one a pass. But if you like the Butcher Babies, people really dig them. They're apparently a very fun live act. Investigate this one. For me, I'm taking a pass. We're going to stay on Century Media. It's the Century Media Week. The latest, the return from the legends from Gothenburg, Sweden, At the Gates, At War with Reality. I mean, this is a great return. Whether it's going to rival, some of their classic stuff from the early mid-90s, that's up for you to decide. But these guys have influenced so many bands of today on the melodic death metal scene and even the metalcore scene. And this is a really, really good return to form. I would kind of rate this as up there with the return from Carcass last year. So this is quite good. Again, melodic death metal, bits of thrash. It's the guitar work is great. The vocals are great. The songs are furious and frantic. This is going to be high up there on a lot of people's best of the year list. Lacuna Coil, Broken Crown Halo. I've always liked Lacuna Coil. They do a really good job on that whole kind of female-fronted metal type thing. So, but here it's female-fronted. It's actually dueling female and male vocals. They've been very consistent. Is this one of their better releases? I don't really think so, but it's pretty good. They're now more of like a modern metal type of an outfit, so they've kind of lost some of that uniqueness that they had early in their career. They're still good. I mean, there's some good songs on here. It's pretty rocking. It's just kind of the last couple of releases kind of sound the same to me. Very, you can't really decide. For me, I listened to the last 2 or 3 albums, and it's kind of like they're all interchangeable. But they've got a good following. Is this the album that's going to really break them? Probably not, in my opinion. But if you like their previous releases, you'll probably dig this. It's a fun album. It's good. Solid. The latest from Aborted, the Necrotic Manifesto. I mean, what more can you say about Aborted? They are a relentless grind, technical death metal machine. This one, a lot of tunes on here. It's nonstop. it's technical, it's brutal, it's just totally out of control, and that's what everybody loves about Aborted. You gotta love his cover art too. So again, you know, another band that just really doesn't disappoint, and this is one of the stronger ones, and there's just no stopping them. So investigate that one. We're going to switch over to the legendary Pink Floyd, The Endless River. I guess this is their swan song, and this is basically made up of some leftover material from the Division Bell sessions from 20 years ago. You know, they've added a lot of bits to it, David Gilmour and company, and I like it. It's mostly instrumental. There's only really one tune with full-fledged vocals on it, which is pretty good. The rest of it's just like kind of soaring instrumental bits, ambient, prog rock, electronic. I mean, you know, everything you love about Pink Floyd. It's a Pink Floyd album. You put it on, you know exactly what it is. Gilmour's guitar work is really, really good on here. And, you know, again, pretty cool booklet here. You know, it's kind of a lot of cool pictures from the sessions and whatnot. And, you know, I don't know. What more can you say? It's Pink Floyd. You know, does it suck that this is probably it for them? Yeah. It does, but you know, if they're going to go out, they've gone out in style. You know, if for nothing else, it's a really good tribute to their fallen keyboard player Richard Wright, who passed away not long ago, and he's all over this. So if you want to hear some classic Richard Wright and soaring Gilmour guitar work, it's a good album. I like it. It's a shame that that's probably going to be it from them. Another return after a couple years. From their last release called Black Ice, AC/DC Rock or Bust. I don't know if you can see that, but check out the kind of cool little effect on the cover. Anyway, you know, they've had some tragedy recently. Malcolm Young, 61 years old, founding member, was diagnosed with dementia and unable to continue on with the band. And you know, Phil Rudd, their drummer, has had all sorts of legal problems in recent months. So basically, this is Brian Johnson and Angus with Mr. Williams on bass, and Angus and Malcolm's nephew, Stevie Young, on rhythm guitar. Phil is on drums on here, but I don't think he's going to be taking part in the upcoming tour, at least, so it hasn't been determined yet. But you know what? This is a really good album. I mean, these guys are always very solid. You know what you're going to get with every AC/DC album, and this is no exception. But I find this one, it's a little bit shorter than the last couple albums. There's only 11 songs on here. It clocks in at roughly 35 minutes. But it's a lot of fun. From the first listen, these songs are memorable, they're catchy, they're heavy, they're rocking. It's just classic AC/DC. Brian Johnson sounds better on this than he has in years. I don't know whether it's kind of taken the last few years off, saving his voice a little bit, but he sounds really clear and strong on here, not as gravelly, scratchy as he has on the last couple of albums. And Angus sounds fantastic, as always. Riffs aplenty, solos, you know, flying all over the place. Stevie Young does a really good job on rhythm guitar. Not much has changed. It's like, you know, if you didn't know that Malcolm wasn't on here, you might not even be able to tell. So, again, really good album. This is going to wind up on my, you know, top end of the year. There's better albums that have come out this year, but, you know, sometimes you have to think of an album that really affects you from the first listen, and you just can't stop listening to it, even though there's probably better stuff out there. That's the mark of a good album and a fun album, and that's what this is. So, AC/DC are back. And last of the new ones that I'm going to talk about this week is this latest from New York's Braindance called Master of Disguise. Never heard the name Braindance, or haven't heard that name in a while? Well, it's been quite a few years since their last release. These guys, they're hard to describe. I've been following them for a long time, since the 90s. They are kind of progressive metal, futuristic metal, prog, ambient, dark wave. You know, you can try to describe them in really different ways. There's really, you know, a little gothic going on. Really good stuff. They use lots of sound clips from movies and TV and whatnot. And male vocalist Sebastian Elliott is great. Guitar player and producer Vora Vor, excellent player. They've crafted some great songs here. It's a concept album. It comes with a 16-page comic book, which has to do with the concept. So that's kind of neat. And, you know, apparently I think it's selling for like $20 or $25. But it's kind of worth, you know, it's a little pricey, but it's kind of worth it. It comes with a good booklet too, a nice digipack. It's like 80 minutes worth of music. The songs are instantly addicting. They're heavy, they're progressive, they're catchy, they're trippy. I mean, it's kind of all this stuff going on at once. So another one that's going to be ranking high up there on my best of list for this year. So Braindance, Master of Disguise, check it out. We're going to move over and close out today with Forgotten Favorites. I got a couple of them. Those of you who have followed the Sea of Tranquility website, and myself in particular, for many, many years, no doubt are aware of my love for all things Uriah Heep. So I thought I'd pull out a couple from my shelf today. Heap-related. Actually, we've got the first two solo releases from Mr. Ken Hensley. Proud Words on a Dusty Shelf and Eager to Please from 73 and 75. And he was still in Heap at the time. These were his first solo outings, and really, really good solo albums here. In fact, if you were to listen to either of these, and the third one I'm going to pull up in a minute, if you were to close your eyes, you probably, wouldn't even think that it was not a Uriah Heep album. Proud Words on a Dusty Shelf is a little more pastoral of the two. Really, really good stuff. It's a little mellower than the Heap material, but it still sounds so Heapish because, Ken Hensley wrote most of the songs. But his vocals are surprisingly great. If you didn't know any better, you would think it was the late David Byron singing on these. I mean, his voice and Hensley sound so identical. And, honestly, when they sacked David Byron from the band, a couple years later in the late 70s, I think 77 it was, if they had chosen not to go out and get John Lawton from Lucifer's Friend, who then went on to do 3 albums with them, if they had decided to kind of just let Mr. Hensley pull up a microphone behind his Hammond organ and do the vocals, history might have been a little different, and who knows, but that's neither here or there. So, this is almost like a Heap album, like a more mellow, lush Heap album without mic boxes, booming power chord riffage, and screaming wah-wah solos. There's good acoustic guitars on here, great vocals, some slide guitar, which, Hensley played a bit in, like, Tofat, the band before he joined Heap, and, Hammond organ, keyboards, piano, really, really nice stuff. Great songs. Cold Autumn Sunday is a classic from here. There's a lot of great tunes on here. Eager to Please, a little more different, not quite as mellow. There's some more upbeat tunes on here. There's some funky stuff on here, some hard rock, some prog, even like a country tune or two, which is kind of strange, but it works. Again, really good album. Both of these, Ken played most of the instruments, some help from friends here and there, like especially on bass and drums and whatnot, but otherwise he did most of the work on there. 2 really good albums you should definitely seek out. And we're going to keep it in Heapville here for the first solo album from the late David Byron, Take No Prisoners. This one also came out in 75, so, the guys in the band were busy while Heap was still, maybe on a little bit of a hiatus between albums. This is a very good album. Byron is in fine form here. Half of it's pretty rockin', some of it's kind of poppy and funky, but again, very Heap sounding. In fact, a couple of the guys in the band make guest appearances on here. So, if you're a Uriah Heep fan, a completist, and you don't have any of these 3 solo albums, I highly recommend them. It's probably the better solo albums from both Byron and Hensley, or at least the ones you should probably check into first. So, that's Forgotten Favorites. That's all we have for you this week. So, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, we are going to go full bore into Best of 2014 next week. So, stay tuned. And same bat time, same bat channel, or something like that, to quote one of my favorite TV shows as a kid. So have a good rest of the week, and we'll catch up with you next time to look at my top 10 of 2014. There's some really good stuff included in that. It was not easy to put together, but I think I got a handle on it. So, and no clues, you'll have to just tune in and see. So have a good week, good weekend. Take care. www.seatranquility.org.